yeah, I've got a haunted dildo. How do I fix that? And we're like, maybe clean it, and hung up. I'm Justin Cancilliere, and I'm the host of ParaTruth, Reborn, and also the radio operations manager at Radio Access 102.5.
You know, everyone tells me what a beautiful car my Toyota Corolla is. True. But I tell them I got my '89 Corolla because I'm completely logical. I look for reliability and quality in a car. But between you and me, I fell in love with my Corolla the first time I laid eyes on it. My Toyota, I love it. Toyota, who could ask for anything more?
Result.
My first car was a 1989 Toyota Corolla, and unfortunately, it did not last very long because it got totaled trying to turn out of what they call a jug handle in New Jersey.
A jug handle?
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
So in order to turn left, you have to turn right in New Jersey. So you turn right, take this huge loop to turn left.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what happened?
I was actually turning left out of the jug handle because I was working for Midas at the time, and these people on my side were letting me go through. There was a red light, and somebody came barreling through, going through the red light, and hit me.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I was pretty sad because I loved my Toyota Corolla.
How old were you?
21.
Right on.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah.
So you're from Jersey, Joyzy.
No, I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay.
I was living in New Jersey with my mom and stepdad at the time because I had broken up with my girlfriend who lived in Florida and ended up moving to New Jersey to live with them to help them out.
What brought you here then?
An ex-girlfriend.
Moving for girls.
Yeah.
Moving away from girls.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
You like North Dakota?
I love North Dakota. This is by far my favorite place I've ever lived.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, we've got the harsh weather, but, you know.
Yeah, drastic from winter to summer,
Yeah.
right? As long as you take advantage of what the state has to offer,
Oh, yeah.
which I didn't do when I was younger. When I was younger, I was very angsty and just wanted the party scene,
Right.
which North Dakota doesn't quite offer.
Right. Unless you live in Fargo, but I suppose even back then, Fargo was not as party as it is today.
Right, which is why we were putting on our own concerts and doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then, even then, I would still complain, like, this state sucks. There ain't nothing to do here. A lot of our friends packed up and moved away. As I got a little bit older and more into nature, then I'm like, wow, this state has a lot to offer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I love cruising all over this place, camping and just getting out and about.
Yeah, it's been forever since we've been camping.
Yeah, we'll have to get you out. I want to do a canoe trip this summer.
Ooh.
We do it every year. We go from Washburn to Bismarck.
Oh, that's right,
It's a
yeah.
Friday to a Sunday. And I brought it up to a few other cats, so we'll get the word out. And if that's something you're interested in.
Yeah, I know Shelly would like to at least try to do it for sure.
Yeah, it can be a little uncomfortable, but, you just got to remember, it's only a couple days, and then you can get the sand out of your crack once you get home. I haven't had a fellow podcaster on here yet. It's been more... Is it podcast or is it radio?
Well, it's actually both. It started out as a podcast. Years and years ago, we started out as Night Stalkers Paranormal Radio, and we had a ghost hunting group by the same name that went with it. And then my co-host and I split ways for a while, and then when I was actually dating Shelly, she was super interested in the fact that I used to do a paranormal podcast, and told me I should bring it back. So I got back with my cousin Eric, and we started it back up. We've been podcasting since 2008. But ParaTruth Reborn, it was ParaTruth Radio, and we actually put it on the side for a while, so that's why we rebranded it as ParaTruth Reborn. And it's pretty much all things paranormal, whatever falls under that umbrella.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, cryptids, conspiracies, energy work, vampires, whatever you can think of, we've talked about.
What really got you interested into paranormal?
Well, I mean, I was actually interested in it from a pretty young age. I was in my early teens, maybe mid-teens. We got a Ouija board as a gift, and it was around that time too I started using tarot cards. One of the things that really shaped my interest in the paranormal was I was staying at my dad's house, and I was sleeping on the couch, and I saw somebody just leaning up against the doorway to the dining room, and I thought it was my dad, so I got up to give him a hug and tell him I'd go into the bedroom, and when I got there, the person disappeared. That is really what threw me even further into wanting to know more about what is going on in the paranormal.
Yeah, you're like, what the hell did I just see?
Yeah, it was kind of a scary thing. But after that, I moved away to get married, got divorced, moved back to Ohio. And that's when my cousin and we were sitting by the fire all the time after working out. We would watch Supernatural, Ghost Hunters, and so we would just start talking about paranormal topics. And I'm like, there's got to be like an online radio or something we can get onto to talk about this. Mm-hmm. And at that point, I had never heard the word podcast because it was relatively new. Yeah. Podcasting started in 2006, which I was shocked that it started that early.
Well, when you said you started in 2008, I was thinking, wait, when the hell did it even start? Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So you were kind of almost an OG.
Yeah. A friend of ours, Jim Harold, he started like right when podcasting really started, and he coined the show name The Paranormal Podcast. I'm like, you son of a gun. Like, you kind of grabbed the best name for a show.
Yeah. Were you ever into Coast to Coast?
Yeah, a little bit, but not as much back then compared to when we started podcasting.
Okay.
When I started podcasting, I started listening to it a lot more, and that is when whoever the host is now, I can't remember his name, but it was after Art Bell. And
George Norrie?
George Norrie.
Is he still?
As far as I'm aware.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. But I know he's got like TV shows and stuff now on Gaia and stuff like that. But listening to some of the stuff that Art Bell did, I was blown away. Like people calling in, and the one guy that called in said that the CIA was tracking him. He doesn't know how long he can stay on the line. Like, and it was something about what extraterrestrials really are. And he's like, they're not telling you the real thing. They're actually spiritual, like demonic entities that are trying to take over. And that is probably one of the most well-known broadcasts for Art Bell.
Dang. Yeah, I'm driving at night on the highway by yourself, listening to that and just getting sucked in and then creeped out. It's like I'm all alone. I'm on a highway. I don't know why I'm really scared, but then I'd start like kind of looking in my back seat. Like, what the hell?
I mean, I will tell you, at night, if I'm up late, I start to get a little paranoid about noises outside, because I've talked about like black-eyed kids and
Oh, kids in
Slender
general
Man.
can be creepy,
Well,
but yeah,
right.
black-eyed ones.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know if you know the whole story about black-eyed kids, but basically these kids show up at your door, want to be let in,
Oh,
claiming that they need to use a phone to call their parents or something. And there's been only 2 instances that I've heard of people letting them in, and in each one, those people got really, really sick afterwards and didn't die right away, but they were sick the rest of their life. And
what the fuck?
the kids were picked up by what could only be described as men in black.
okay. And they always drive really nice cars,
Yeah.
too. So what are some of the other cryptids that you've gotten into? Have you ever done any, I don't know how you would put it, chasing or...
No, not really. I would really like to at least once, but we have friends in the paranormal podcasting community that have done it. Dogman is a really interesting one, and Bigfoot.
Yeah, Bigfoot, definitely a classic.
Yeah. We've talked about Loch Ness Monster, Mothman, because that is relatively close to the Ohio-Virginia border,
right.
West Virginia
Yeah.
border. Those are kind of the main ones. Chupacabra we've talked about it, but it's one of those ones where it's like, it's really hard to pinpoint. I mean, most of these cryptids are really hard to pinpoint what they could be if they're not something what they actually are, to try and debunk them. You know, with Bigfoot specifically, there's a lot of people that will try and say that it is a misidentification of a bear, which is possible. People get scared and then stuff goes into their mind, and that's what shapes what they see.
Sure.
So we have talked a lot over the years about them possibly being a spiritual entity in nature, which that's the main perception right now about cryptids, that it's more of a spiritual thing than a physical animal.
Okay. Funny, I remember hearing just, about Bigfoot or Mothman before, and I was always interested, curious. Then the rational thought in me is like, well, how come they've never been found? If it's
Right.
like a missing link or whatever, it should pop up somewhere. All these
Right.
people claim to keep seeing it. And then there was the theory or other stories that they're part of UFO entities or they're aliens themselves. And I'm like, okay, now I'm back into interest again,
Yeah,
It's funny how the more theories can really be out there and then change my perception of belief in a sense.
Yeah. And the reason that is they're being cited a lot of times near UFO activity.
Yeah.
And I mean, to me though, if Bigfoot are as intelligent as people believe they are, it could be a curiosity thing from them as much as us. So
Do you do interviews with people?
yeah, it's most of the time it's a lot of interviews. On occasion, it's him and I by ourselves just talking about a topic, or we bring on a friend as a guest co-host to talk about topics. And usually it's guests that have written books. We've also brought on Christina Gomez. She's got a YouTube channel about UFOs. I'm trying to think of who else. We have had Jim Harold on. He does a book called Campfire Stories, where he talks to people about different events that have happened to them, spooky events. And then just other podcast hosts, mostly paranormal.
Are you pretty open to all things paranormal? Is there anything you've come across you're like, it's dumb or doesn't fly for you?
A lot of the conspiracy theories.
Okay.
I mean, there is some truth to most conspiracy theories. It's just some people take it way too far on the deep end where it's hard to really believe.
Oh, yeah.
But as far as like paranormal activity, cryptids, stuff like that, I believe the people's stories in the fact that they believe that it happened. What happened, I wasn't there. I don't know. So you can only take them by their word.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point, because I remember as a kid thinking I saw a gnome going for a jog. And I had such a vivid imagination that it became kind of real. When I look back through my memories, I can see this, picture this in my head, but I know it wasn't real, So even adults, I'm sure, can see something that maybe they can't explain or have not quite seen something like it before, and then the rest just kind of fills in, I guess.
Yeah. Well, around 15 years old or so, I was having a problem with a lot of depression, and my parents had gotten divorced, and it was just a really hard time for me. And so I was going to go see a psychologist at the time to be put on medication. And one of the questions on there was, have you ever seen anything that's not there? And I had seen somebody, I think this was around the time that I saw the image of whatever it was. I thought it was my dad at the time, but I had also been walking home from school the one day and thought I had saw somebody in like Victorian style clothing. And so I had put down yes. And she's like, my mom's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I've seen things that aren't there sometimes. And she's like, okay, but you can't put that down because they're going to think you're crazy.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that at one point do we say imagination over maybe we're seeing just things that most people can't.
Right. Yeah. And maybe some people are even more, can see things that others can't.
Like a sensitivity.
Yeah. I remember one girl talking to me about stuff, and she believed for sure that she was more, I guess, sensitive to that, and asked if I was. And I was pretty honest, like, no, I haven't seen anything really weird. I've had weird moments, but that's about it. I've never seen, I remember going with some friends to another person's house, and we were waiting for somebody else to get there outside. And it was just me and two other people, and I had to take a piss real bad. So I went inside, took a piss, and then came out, and these two were like, whoa, you should have been here. Something just flew by. We had no idea what it was. I'm like, what the fuck? God damn it. I'm so pissed. And they were pretty adamant that, a UFO or something they could not explain. And yeah. So I have moments like that.
Okay.
Where either I just miss out or don't get to be a part of it.
Yeah, I've seen, and I call it UFO just because I can't explain what it was. It was actually, I had seen it here in town. I was driving up north. I was working at a nursing home at the time and saw something shoot straight up and then straight away, and can't explain what it was. People are like, well, is there a military base there or something? I'm like, well, yeah, but several miles away. It's like, we don't have one here in Bismarck. So it's not like we could say, oh, maybe experimental craft or drone, because at that time it was well before drones had become more available to the public, at least. I mean, it could have been a military drone, but again, we don't have military here, a military base here. So
yeah, with the availability of drones, I gotta imagine that UFO in quotation sightings are gonna skyrocket, and continuously.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, there was a bout just before the election where everybody were seeing these, what they were calling UFOs or UAPs in New Jersey and along the East Coast.
Yeah.
And a lot of them were kind of misidentification. My cousin was looking at one picture and you could zoom in and literally see an airline logo on what they were trying to take a picture of.
Oh, funny.
And I mean, some of them were drones.
Yeah,
so, I mean, not all of them, because there were ones where it was like orbs of light. And I don't know if it was scientists or the military were just saying, oh, it was just a pocket of something caught in the air and whatever. And I'm like, are we going to just keep using that as an excuse to what it is? Not saying it's not possible that is an explanation, but to debunk it as just something so erroneous that science is just trying to explain it away. It's like, there's more to it than just that.
Right. Yeah, that kind of reminds me of when we were talking about conspiracies too. I think for a hot minute, it was the 9/11 one. I was like, oh, maybe that is one big, And then after the fact, learning a little bit more, I'm like, oh, well, I don't believe it was, imploded or bombs everywhere.
Yeah.
Then there's people who still believe that the Earth is flat or the moon landing never happened.
Right.
Well,
for the moon landing not happening, I do believe that it's a very good possibility that what they shot with Neil Armstrong was in a studio because they did not want to or did not have the capability to shoot it from the moon at the time.
Is this I've also heard Stanley Kubrick involved on that theory too.
Yeah, I've heard that too. And I mean, again, it kind of makes sense to a degree, especially if they were going there for something other than just a moon landing, because there are people that believe that we went to the moon because we had made contact with extraterrestrials and they were stationed on the moon.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like that. You think anything's going to come out in our lifetime of, all right, you know what? They are here. Or is it just always going to be hush, hush?
I think eventually, yes, in our lifetime we'll see it, but it won't come from our government. It'll come from whatever entities there are from themselves, because they're not going to deal with the government trying to police what they release. So I firmly believe that it will, because it seems like every year there's more and more that is not just coming out, but activity in the skies too.
Right. Stephen Hawking had said if aliens do come here, it would be like the white man coming to North America. Just taking over for resources. And, it wasn't good for any of the indigenous people.
Right.
So do you think it would be harmful to us, or more like, hey, you're going to be part of this intergalactic?
From talking to a lot of people that have done research in this, and there's so many people that have come out with books about the different types of extraterrestrials that are out there.
Oh, yeah, totally.
It would probably just depend on the race that finally makes contact with the general public over just the military or the governments of the world. Because there are, like, they say certain reptilians are a very dominating race over, like, what they call the Nords, blonde hair, blue eyes. They look very close to us, just off a little bit, usually a lot taller. And they're a peaceful race that are a part of what they're calling the United Nation of Planets. And we did have somebody on who says that she communes with a extraterrestrial that is a part of that, and they made the same comment that it would not be the government that would be releasing first contact or making it known. It would be the extraterrestrials themselves.
Okay. Of all the species out there of different aliens, is the consensus that the Greys are the big dicks?
From what some people have told me,
Not that they have big dicks, but that they're just, just the fuckheads.
Well, from my understanding, they don't have any genitalia at all.
Right.
So, from what people have said is the Greys, specifically the shorter Greys, are a non-biological race. They were created by another race and ended up kind of like we're seeing AI emerge now. It was a robotic race that somebody created and ended up becoming sentient. I had heard a show years and years ago. I forget the author's name, but he basically said that the Greys are kidnapping, abducting people because they're trying to steal the human soul because they, in their opinion, do not have a soul. So they're very curious and are trying to create a hybrid that would give them that extra part of themselves.
Oh, so that's why they're dicks.
Yeah. So if you ever hear about anal probing or abductions, a lot of times it's blamed on the Greys because the description of whatever alien has abducted people, it's always the bulbous head, black eyes, grayish or greenish skin.
Was that really a thing, alien or anal probing? Or is it just kind of become
claiming it?
Okay,
yeah.
I wasn't sure if it just became like a joke in the zeitgeist or...
Yeah, I mean, people were claiming it. What really happened, hard to say, because a lot of times they'll say, oh yeah, they implanted something and there's nothing there. There have been times that they find something implanted under the skin. But did that person do it to themselves? Or did it actually happen where it was an extraterrestrial? Hard to say.
Or just shot with a BB when they were a kid.
Yeah.
That happened to me once. My cousin Mikey shot me right in the hand with a pellet gun.
God.
He's like, I'm not going to hit you. I'm going to shoot next to you. Hit me right in the hand, that son of a bitch.
Well, our dog Sarge absolutely had some BBs under his skin because we could feel hard spots in his skin, and he was taken off the reservation. So.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, down the street from us, somebody found their cat. They took their cat in, and there was a pellet. So I'm on edge in the neighborhood if there's somebody shooting cats.
Yeah, that's...
Want to find this person. What's the most outrageous theory you've heard that...
It's got to be the flat Earth theory.
Yeah, right? Even people themselves who believe in this and try to prove it wind up proving that the Earth is round.
Right.
So I don't know how they... Internet sucks some ways, with the misinformation and how certain people believe one way or the other, but facts are there, know?
I mean, I will say there were some very interesting facts that make the flat Earth theory very believable. I honestly don't remember all of them, but like we're going back to like Columbus times is when they were really believing that the Earth was flat. And
to me, that makes sense. Yeah, you don't have the tools that we have today.
Right. And I believe it was Galileo that originally hypothesized that the Earth is not flat, is actually more of a sphere. But now people are saying no, and this is going along the lines of, conspiracy theory. They don't believe NASA. They believe NASA is creating a composite from a fish eye lens, making the Earth look flat, and it's because they don't want to believe what we're being fed. And now, to an extent, I totally get that. To another extent, to say that the Earth is flat because NASA's lying to us does not fly for me.
Right.
Like, if Galileo was the one that originally came up with it, it's like, well, it was well before NASA was even around. So how are we going to say that NASA is the one that's lying?
Any good shows, TV, that delve into... I every year there's always kind of a new show, but a lot of times they're just rehashing old stories.
Yeah, and a lot of reenactments now compared to like Ghost Hunters and what's the one with Zach Baggins? unfortunately, even with like ghost hunters, it has been proven that they faked evidence.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, Zach Baggins is probably one of the ones where it is a little more truthful that they haven't, at least it hasn't come out that they've faked any evidence.
Okay.
But new stuff, I honestly have not watched a whole lot of new stuff unless it's like a documentary or something. But TV shows, yeah, I haven't watched any TV shows in a really, really long time, just because it's one of those stigmas that they're just doing it for ratings.
Yeah, of course. When I was a kid, they had that, I think it was Fox, did the alien autopsy.
Yeah.
Remember that one?
Yeah.
But I got to say, the GOAT, whether there was really a whole lot of truth or research behind it, Robert Stack's
Unsolved Mysteries.
Unsolved Mysteries. And the music.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Still
Yeah.
the GOAT.
Shelley is still, like, it creeps her out to hear Robert Stack and the Unsolved Mysteries. Apparently, Unsolved Mysteries freaked her out as a kid.
Yeah, same. But that's why I love it still.
Yeah. When I was a kid, it wasn't a paranormal show, but it was like a horror story show, and it was on Nickelodeon called Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yes. That intro was
yeah.
the best.
Yeah. I've tried watching it as an adult, and I've tried watching other shows that I watched as a kid as an adult, and that one did not hold up as well.
No, I tried to. I was like, oh man, I can watch this again? Oh, I'm so in. And then you're like, oh, that's
I think it's the
good.
same thing with the old Goosebumps
Yes.
shows,
Yep.
too.
Yeah, that's funny. My wife was actually watching one of those Goosebumps. I think there's like a new series or something.
Yeah, my cousin Eric just told me about it, and that it's actually really good because it's more horror than what the old Goosebumps were.
Right. Yeah, which is what I always wanted it to be.
Right.
Reading those books, and then at the end you kind of get weird, dumb explanation, or everything's good. But yeah some of those hit just right at that age. Yeah. Podcasting. How do you keep engaging stories?
Well, doing it as long as we had, that's kind of why we stepped away, because it was kind of basically the same thing over and over again.
Right. You just don't want to rehash the same.
So what we've been doing lately is doing like 2 episodes of just Eric and I, and then 2 episodes with a guest, just so we don't get burnt out with topics, and interviews can be kind of stressful, especially if you're trying to read books. One thing that has kind of changed the game for us is actually using ChatGPT. It will come up with a solid set of questions, and then we have at least a base set of questions until we're having the conversation, and then more questions pop up as we're talking to the guest.
Oh, okay. Actually, somebody using it for maybe intended purposes.
Yeah. I mean, so many people are using it for content related stuff.
And I can't imagine doing that in school too. You know, I'm glad it wasn't available, and I really hope that I wouldn't have turned to it.
Right.
I feel that way with social media. That kind of popped up after high school for me.
Right.
I'm so glad, I didn't grow up in that world where I would have been doing a lot of stupid, moronic shit and recording it, thinking it's funny, posting it instantly. I don't know. Some of these kids, like, their whole life is on the internet.
Yeah.
And I find that strange.
Sadly, though, some of them are making way more than you and I are. So
yeah, by doing dumb shit, like stuffing their face with cheeseburgers, and then people are paying them for it.
Yeah.
What the hell?
No, and I had somebody ask me once, as a writer, do you feel that ChatGPT, there's some type of stigma that goes into using ChatGPT?
Sure.
And I'm like, no, like if you use it as intended, as a tool, not to write an entire book for you.
Oh,
then
right.
There's no moral dilemma there. Like if you need like word prompts or a title that, the title's just not coming to you, stuff like that, then use it. And that's usually what I'm using it for, is either I need a word prompt, I need a title, I need a script of some kind. If I need questions, I don't have time to read the whole book. It's one of those things that it's if you're abusing it, then yes, you're going to be getting a lot of kickback from people that you're using it, and then you come out finding out that you used AI to do your high school paper or write your book, and then you threw your name on it and didn't even indicate that it was written by AI.
Everything's moving so fast too when it comes to AI artwork and those fake videos. I forgot what they're called. And some of the videos I was seeing last year to this year, it's hard to almost differentiate if it's real or not.
Yeah.
Next year, in 5 years, it's going to be so mind blowing. I hope there are tools out there that can reverse check if it's real or not. I mean, there's got to be something.
Well, I know schools have it where they can check to see if
I've heard
the whole paper was.
I've also heard,
AI, so.
and I don't know if this is true. Somebody could just be mad that they got caught using ChatGPT, but saying my paper was flagged as AI written, and it wasn't. So that kind of worries me too.
Yeah. Well, but if it's that well written that it's being flagged as AI, then it's like, well, yeah. I mean, most teachers need to kind of take the word of the kid too. I mean, I know a lot of them aren't, but
right. It seems like a lot of kids can't really read or write these days anyway. So I don't know. I don't want to.
I mean, cursive has already gone away out of the school system.
Yeah.
How we did math, it's not. They use Common Core math now for the most part. So many different art things have come out of the schools, so it's like, yeah, we're losing a lot.
Yeah,
culturally.
Yeah. Even businesses are using AI artwork.
Yeah,
it's weird.
I had a gal from the band Harshlight. They're a newer band, and she said she does not like AI art because she feels it's still stolen art, because how AI creates art is grabs composites from a bunch of different artwork to put it together.
Yeah, that's funny. That's weird. Eventually, we're going to get straight up movies, don't you think? That's complete AI. And on one hand, I'm almost for it. And I'll say my reasoning why. And again, a lot of people wouldn't agree with this. When I watch a movie and somebody's playing a real character like Marilyn Monroe or Johnny Cash, unless they absolutely look like this person, I'm not really into it. I still see it's just this person pretending to be this person. I get it. And if it's a good movie, I'm totally in. But I want to see, especially if it's somebody who's been so well documented. I mean, of course, you could do a movie about Galileo and anybody could play that.
Right. Yeah.
If it's going to be Marilyn Monroe, if you did a digital AI version of that, I think that could be cool. But I don't know. On one hand, too, you almost need that release, from that person prior. Yeah. So you can't really go back and I know I was watching a Tales from the Crypt episode that came out in the 90s.
Okay.
And they had a digital Humphrey Bogart in it.
Yep.
And it looked really cool at the time.
Right.
Looking back, you can see the crappy AI, or not AI, the CGI.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's very, it's a touchy situation, I guess. If that person was cool, like in the future, I would like to be brought back and,
Yeah, AI forum, yeah.
Sure.
We had at the Dakota Film Festival, somebody submit an completely AI generated movie. And the premise was to explain what God looks like. And there was no dialogue. It was a little bit of music put to it, but it was actually fascinating to see what AI thinks God looks like.
Okay.
And it was actually a lot of the image were a mixture of almost like a cyborg, human robot hybrid, and that's what it thinks God looks like.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was interesting, and like you said, AI is advancing so fast. I mean, there are videos on like TikTok now of like Bigfoot doing a vlog and stuff like that. So it's advancing way faster than we realize.
Yeah, on one end, I'm kind of for it. One end, I'm like, can we hold off a little bit? Slow your roll.
Right. Technology has moved so fast over the past
And it's making me feel like an old,
Yeah.
grumpy son of a bitch, too.
Yeah. And that's kind of why I use ChatGPT. Both me and my boss use it quite a bit just for ideas and stuff. And I have a coworker who's a lot younger. She's in her early 20s. And she hates that people are using it so much. So the one day we were talking and my boss is like, I'm sorry. I know you don't like it. And I'm like, yes, but old guys like us that can't come up with stuff sometimes, we need a little help from ChatGPT to get our mind going.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I need to get into more of these, or at least be familiar with it too.
Yeah.
Because if you have no knowledge of it, you really get left behind.
You're going to be lost,
quick.
yeah.
My mom, I feel bad for her too. I had to upgrade her cell phone and she hates it. And she wants her old flip phone, but fucking Sanford has everyone's chart digitally now. They won't
Right.
send her the paperwork and
Right.
let her read that stuff. She has to go onto an app on her phone, which is why I had to upgrade her phone, because her old phone, the app wouldn't work anymore.
Oh.
So, and she's I'm trying to help her keep up with it, but she's getting left behind. There's so many senior citizens that's happening to, and Sanford is almost purposely doing this to people, and it's really bugging me.
It's kind of interesting because there are a lot of older generation that have embraced it. And then there's generations like my mother-in-law that she will not get a smartphone. It's flip phone or nothing.
She still has a flip phone.
Yeah. Her and my brother-in-law.
She have a landline too.
Yep.
Yeah. Does anybody call it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, that's most of the calls she gets is on her landline. And that's why she wanted to keep it, because most people have the landline number, not her cell phone number.
We wound up getting rid of ours years ago for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Probably
we did
over
too.
10.
Yeah.
We only two people would call, and it was my mom and Nancy's mom. And we're like, yeah, so we got rid of it. Tell me a little bit about working at Cable Access.
Yeah. Dakota
Or Radio Access. What is it?
Dakota Media Access is the nonprofit. Radio Access is just one of the things under that umbrella. So they've got government access, community access, and radio access. Government access for local government meetings. Community access is just community TV. People submit their shows. And then radio access, same thing. It's just people submitting their shows or coming in to at least record them in studio, and then we put them out. It was actually luck that I got into the position for radio access, because I did find out from my boss there was one other person that she was going to give the job to, and she didn't like what they put on their social media, so she went with me instead.
Yeah, you got to be careful these days.
And I rarely post on my social medias as it is. So, but after, when she decided to retire, she came in and gave me a hug, and she goes, I absolutely chose the right person for the position. Because I've been pushing change for that station. The automation system that they were using a free software at the time, and it was always just constantly breaking down. Not that we don't have problems sometimes with the current one, but when you're using a free software versus a paid software and not updating that free software like you should be, eventually you're going to be having a lot of problems. I've also pushed to separate the podcasts and the music programs because they were using Mixcloud at the time for everything. And I'm like, well, if that's the case, the podcasts aren't going to be getting much attention outside of just being on the radio because Mixcloud doesn't offer an RSS feed. So I told her, I use Spreaker. It pushes it out to all the major catchers. Like, why don't we just do that for the podcast? You can't do that with the radio shows, unfortunately, because it's copyrighted music. But
Right.
so I got that changed, and all of the people that do talk shows, podcasts, have loved that I've changed that because they're getting more listens outside of just being the radio. They're getting it from around the world even. And then the most recent change is we used to have two pieces of equipment called zips, and one's a transmitter, one's a receiver. And they've always had problems with them connecting well. It would always drop the line every once in a while. So now I've got it where we're streaming audio off of a computer straight into the audio processor at the tower, so that it's two less pieces of equipment that we have to troubleshoot if something goes wrong. So, no, there's been a lot of change since I took over to streamline how the radio goes. Our new boss has actually embraced myself and another coworker to help him change the organization in a way, because DMA has done things the same way for so long that a lot of people don't even know who Dakota Media Access is anymore. So he's pushed an initiative to do kind of like a Who is DMA campaign and get some videos out there on our social media. And I think it's probably the best thing for Dakota Media Access, because if you do not change, you're just going to be swept away.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of how we were talking about, just, old people keeping up with it,
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't, you get left behind.
Right.
When did you become a member? Join the team? Hired?
The end of 2023. So I've been there almost going on 2 years in November.
Oh, sweet. So,
yeah.
you're doing a lot of change within that time. That's dope.
Yeah. Before that, working for the post office. If there's any post office workers out there, I feel for you right now, because there's a lot of stuff going on with the post office.
Yeah.
Not just within the organization, but within the government too.
This is not so much a term anymore, but when I was younger, the term going postal meant just losing your shit and shooting up everything.
Yeah. Well, and to be honest, I didn't even grasp what that meant until working for the post office.
Yeah.
But back in the day, postal workers were allowed to carry a firearm on them.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Until
Till somebody went postal.
people were starting to shoot up their own offices or whatever.
Yeah.
That changed and the law changed. But
Okay.
yeah, you were allowed to carry a firearm, because just like being a delivery, food delivery driver, whatever, people could try and mug you and take what you had on you.
Right.
So, not that they can't do that now, but the basic defense now is carrying pepper spray on you. And that's usually for dogs, but it works on humans too.
Yeah, I bet. How long did you do that for then?
I was with the post office for, as career, 7 years, but actually like 8 years.
Okay. Cool. So you like what you're doing now, though?
Oh, night and day difference. I love my job. I love going into work.
Oh, isn't that nice?
Yeah, I do get bored at times just because every day is not the same. Sometimes I have several people coming in to record in the studio. Sometimes it's an entire week of they're just sending me their files. So is it much stress-free job compared to the post office?
Hell yeah. Yeah, it makes such a difference, too, for your mental health, your physical health.
Yeah.
When you get stressed, man, that can fuck you up physically.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
And Shelly was super worried about it because the post office does have a lot of great benefits.
Yeah.
But switching over to Dakota Media Access, it actually I did take a pay cut, but with all of the stuff that was coming out of my paycheck for union fees and insurance and everything else, it's actually balanced out because Dakota Media Access covers the employees portion of insurance at least.
Nice.
So, and they do have a retirement program, and between the insurance and that, I'm still breaking the same amount that I was with the post office.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would take a pay cut for stress relief, I think. I mean, if it, a little bit.
Right.
But yeah. No, it's nice. I like what I do too. And yeah, goes a long way.
Oh, yeah. If you love what you do, it's not as much work as a passion. So
So I do this show. It's just a podcast. Although we cuss, sometimes I'll say the SHIT word or the FUCK word. So if I was going to move this over to radio access, I definitely have to go through and edit.
Yeah.
Make a clean version.
Yeah, because anything that's going out on radio, and especially with the current political climate, the FCC has cracked down on a lot of low power FM stations. And it's more so like, I don't know if you heard, but they went after PBS and Prairie Public.
Yeah.
But it was more so because of how many underwriters they had. And underwriters is basically a commercial, but you can't have a call to action. You can't have a whole lot of things other than it's the entity's name, what they are doing or offer, how to contact them, or where to find them.
Okay.
You can't say best food in Bismarck or anything like that. So that they were cracking really hard on that because NPR specifically, even with their song of the day, they had an underwriter putting something at the front of every song. I haven't heard too much about them cracking down on ones that aren't violating the underwriter thing yet. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if you're going with radio access, you have to cut out any expletives within reason. Like shit would be fine. F-bomb, obviously not.
Right. And you can say ass, like you are an asshole, but you can't say, I want you to eat my asshole.
It's context too.
Yes.
Right. And it depends on if somebody gets a bug up their ass about, they could report anything. It doesn't even have to be a cuss word.
Right, right.
We had just before I started, one of the music programs had a emergency siren on there. Like, I think it was a police siren come out, and it was just a part of a song. It wasn't something they could even really help unless they cut that entire part out of the song.
Okay.
And somebody reported them, and my former boss had to write a 15-page explanation that show, we talked to the host, and actually that show's not even with us anymore as of this point, because they decided to leave, not the DMA told them they can't do it anymore because of that. It takes 6 months, sometimes up to a year, for the FCC even to issue the complaint to the person that was in violation.
That's so stupid.
Yeah.
So going back, was this just somebody who was a dummy listening to the radio and then thought they were getting pulled over or something?
Basically, but a lot of people know the rules as far as community, and maybe it goes along with commercial radio too, but
sure.
The FCC guidelines of you cannot have an emergency vehicle sound in your broadcast.
Oh.
But for the most part, if you're a music DJ, you know what songs have that and can skirt around, well, we can't play that, but I'll get you something else on instead, type of thing. This person just liked that song, and maybe they just didn't realize that it was in there. That's the explanation I got, was the person didn't realize there was a siren in the song.
Yeah.
And that does happen too. Because sometimes it's so mild that you won't even notice it. So it was one person that heard it and was like freaked out for a second, but also knew the FCC regulations and reported that person.
So when you went over to Radio Access, you were already doing your podcast beforehand.
Yeah.
And did you get hired and you brought this over, or did you start podcasting or doing the radio thing first?
Well, we were doing actually another podcast called Right in the Pickle Barrel about being a writer. Because Eric is a script writer, I'm a science fiction writer. So we brought that over with coming on to Radio Access. And that's kind of why I had got the job, was because I had at least somewhat of a background for podcasting, knowing, audio. I'm not the best with audio equipment sometimes because, again, one of those things that's moving so quick that it's hard to stay caught up on what equipment you need anymore. We actually just switched our mixer because we had a really huge radio quality mixer, and we had a company here be like, why are you using that when you can use this very small touch screen, still really kind of expensive mixer, and it still does the exact same thing. There is a couple of things that the bigger mixer did that this one doesn't, but overall, I've been happier with the smaller mixer. But again, technology moves so fast, and the guy that originally set up the radio station, I think, came from kind of a commercial radio background, so he set up the radio station in that same format.
Sure.
So, and but yeah, that's really why I got the job, was because I had however many years of experience at the time, 2023 to 2008, 15 years of experience. It's now going on 17 years of experience.
Yeah.
So yeah, the podcast definitely came first, and it wasn't long after starting with Radio Access that we decided to kind of stop with Right in the Pickle Barrel, because it was more so to kind of like educate people how to do their writing and how to get published or self-published, depending on which route you want to go. And there isn't a whole lot of information that you can get out there except for, bringing on other authors as guests after that. So we had one or two guests on, and then my cousin Eric was like, I kind of want to do paranormal again. I'm like, okay, we can switch. I mean, there's not much we can do with Right in the Pickle Barrel right now. So, and after that, we actually got picked up by a large network called United Public Radio Network, and they have online, but also a radio station in New Orleans, and they've got a radio station on the West Coast. So we get broadcast there, and we get broadcast on Radio Access too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you done a call-in show?
When we first started.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was that like? A lot of dick bags calling in?
Yeah. One of the ones that stick out to me was, and we can't prove this, but we were pretty sure it's a family member that we knew, called in saying, yeah, I've got a haunted dildo. How do I fix that? And we're like, maybe clean it, and hung up. That was probably the most extreme. Other people, it was sometimes really funny. Sometimes, they were asking serious questions. So we kind of got away from that because we were doing live at the time as well. So
right. Yeah, you kind of need a phone screener.
Yeah. Yeah.
But even then, some of those would get through on our bell,
Oh, yeah.
I would be listening intently, and then some jackass would just start joking around. It's like, you ruined the moment. I wanted to be scared.
Well, we didn't have somebody monitoring, unfortunately, because at the time it was just he and I. Mm-hmm. So we were just answering any calls that were coming in on the system. We used Blog Talk Radio at the time, and they have kind of a whole call-in system. So,
what's the feed block looking like at Radio Access? Is there room for me to come on over?
Yeah. it's actually kind of a rotating door type deal. We have some that come in and last a little bit and then go away. We've got people that have been there for years, and life is just getting in the way. They can't do the show anymore. So,
sure.
Yeah, I mean, you just let me know and we can get you on for sure.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I'll get to working on that because I wanted to get mine. Always room to grow.
Yeah, and then I'll shoot you an email quick with the paperwork. It's super simple. It's just basically these are the policies, and then just things to read, and then just filling in your information for us to have on file too. So,
you think pirate radio stations still exist?
Probably somewhere, but with the invention of low power FM stations, I think that's not as common anymore. But because the FCC regulations are there are going to always be those people that want to say what they want to say and get it out on radio airwaves.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of people that, and this is going back from when I first started podcasting, everybody was like, oh, radio's going to go away. It's always going to be all digital now. Yeah. And I mean, in a sense, yes, they weren't wrong. It is digital, but it is still going over the airwaves. It's just not done the same way anymore. And there are a lot of stations that are releasing podcasts and stuff too. So I don't think radio is going to go away, because in the event that we get hit with like a major EMP or anything like that, radio is going to be one of the first things that's able to come back up. So
I like how you just brought it topical now.
Yeah.
The news has been dark.
Yeah. And we're living in some really interesting times as of late.
Anything coming up that you're excited about?
Well, we've got a lot of great guests. We actually have a woman that we've been wanting to get on for years. Her name's Michelle Bellinger. And the reason we had wanted her on for so long is she is what she calls a psychic vampire. But her and Devin, I can't remember his last name, wrote a book called The Bad Vibes Field Guide, and it's basically how to protect yourself against bad energy. So that one is going to be fascinating, just because we've been wanting to get her on for years, and I never realized this really, or I don't remember. She actually does live in the Cleveland metropolitan area, and believe it or not, Cleveland has a huge vampire, quote unquote, vampire community with vampire bars and stuff like that too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Where can people go to find these episodes or the show in general?
The easiest way is just to go to paratruth.com. All of our video shows and audio shows are on there. But if you like watching, we're on YouTube. We're on Rumble. I believe when they put our videos out live, it goes out to Twitch, and then pretty much wherever you can find podcasts.
Okay, right on. Thanks for coming in, man.
Yeah.
And I should have you on again, or we'll just hang out, because I want to talk more paranormal and cryptozoology and all the stuff that I've loved growing up too.
Yeah.
So, all right, take care, dude.
Thank you.